Hello YouTube, shintigercurl here, that dude in the straw hat, bringing you yet another awesome video. It's Sunday night, you know what that means? Time for some wrestling. And what event will I be reviewing tonight? Well, WWE's SummerSlam. Yes, one of the E's big four pay-per-views, alongside WrestleMania, the Royal Rumble, and Survivor Series. So, this is the 28th straight edition of SummerSlam. So, we got 4 hours. I got my notes, and I also want to send a big shout out to my friends Dante Nickings and the rest of the video game console junkies for letting me in on their chat. So we pretty much spent most of the time just capping and cutting on shit. It was real hilarious. Thank you guys in advance. But anyway, first up, we revealed the host for SummerSlam, none other than the Daily Show's own former head anchor, Jon Stewart. Big fan of the professional wrestling. Sorry. He's a big fan of professional wrestling, and he's even done a couple of angles with current champion Seth Rollins. And he says he wants to interview Brock Lesnar. He calls in Mick Foley, but Foley's like, no, I don't want none of that. I don't want none of what Brock Lesnar is. Fuck that shit. I ain't doing it. But yeah, we go into our first match. Randy Orton versus Sheamus. Just regular old match. This was a nice little matchup. Randy and Sheamus have always worked well together over the years, and this match is no different. They put off a great little back and forth between each other. The end comes when Sheamus lands 2 back-to-back bro kicks on Randy Orton and knocks him out, picking up the 1, 2, 3. This is a good way to get the crowd hyped up because we're in for the long haul, 4 hours. Next up, the tag team titles are on the line. The Douche Day, the New Day, versus the Lucha Dragons versus Los Matadores versus the Primetime Players defending in a fatal 4-way tag team match. Basic rules are whoever hits the first pinfall or submission wins the match for their team. You can tag anyone can tag anyone else. So it's kind of like leads to a wild element. This was an awesome match. Very wild, a lot of creep spots, but as my bro Dante Nickings pointed out, Sin Cara botched. Not significantly enough to affect the overall quality of the match, but enough that it would be noticeable. So yeah, I'm thinking that match has to be cursed to me. Sin Cara, the name Sin Cara is now synonymous with botching, so. But anyway, after a rip-roaring match, the New Day wins. Yes! Yep, big mark for New Day. So, they are now 2-time tag team champions, and I hope they stay that way for quite a while. Next up, Rusev versus Dolph Ziggler. I've already said in my previous videos how much I fucking hate this angle. Not the guys in it. I just hate this fucking angle. And it also didn't help that Lana came out looking like a reject, looking like she just walked off the set of Saved by the Bell. Really? A denim business suit with Dolph Ziggler spray painted on it? Really? We doing the whole Jimmy Hart thing now? Really? The match was okay. I just didn't care for it. Most of the time, the guys and I were just capping on Dolph Ziggler's bad dye job and how Rusev should be playing for the Gamer Gauntlet on Up, Up, Down, Down. The match ends in a double countout, which also results in a terrible mini cat fight between Summer Rae and Lana. That happened. We're moving on. Next up, one of my most anticipated matchups, the Lords of Darkness, Stardust, and the Cosmic King Barrett take on Team Arrow of the man that gravity forgot, Neville, and his tag team partner, Arrow's own Stephen Amell. Now, I have to say, this is not the first time celebrities have gotten into the squared circle. As was brought up in the chat conversation, Lawrence Taylor, LT, his now famous or infamous WrestleMania match with Bam Bam Bigelow. I mean, we've seen the likes of Drew Carey to Bob Barker to Snooki to pretty much every other popular celebrity at the time. I had high hopes for Stephen Amell because of the way he entered the way he just leapt over that barricade and jumped in the ring. This match was actually pretty good, better than I thought it would be, and mostly because Stephen Amell took a hell of a lot of punishment. A lot of people don't realize. You can tell by the welts and bruises on his body that he took some punishment, and he sold some moves pretty well. I would not mind seeing him wrestle again, and he actually flew off the top rope, a la Jeremy Piven, but good. Neville hits the red arrow, 1, 2, 3, Team Arrow wins. I hope they keep doing this because I'm really liking Stephen Amell in the ring. He is actually passable in the ring, more so than a lot of other celebrities. I know that's not saying much, but the guy looks good. Next up, The Big Show versus Ryback versus The Miz. Yet another match I did not care about. It's bad enough that these guys do not work well together. Big Show is slow and lumbering. Miz is as adequate and has to deal with these two guys in the ring. And Ryback is, well, limited himself. It was what it was. Ryback wins. Can we move on? Next up, Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper versus Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose. This is actually a pretty good match. Pretty solid tag team match. Although both Roman and Dean spent an enormous amount of time outside the ring resting. And the crowd called them out on it. But yeah, this was a pretty good match. Harper and Bray looked pretty good, pretty strong. But in the end, the Bros had to take it as Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns took the match. Next up, one half of our co-main event. Seth Rollins, John Cena, title versus title, winner take all. I have to say this was a fantastic matchup. Once again, John Cena seems to be able to pull out 5-star matches out of his ass like chunks of corn from his shit. It is amazing. And Seth Rollins looked awesome out there, and he was pretty much busting out moves from other guys. I mean, he pulled out the blockbuster. You old school WCW fans know who the blockbuster's from. And he even pulled off a frog splash. I don't even hate him because it was a beautiful frog splash. This was a nice back and forth matchup. Seth Rollins looked fantastic out there. See, this is the way I want Seth Rollins to be built. You can be a cowardly heel, but you can still pull off great matches to show that you can go in the ring. And this is just the second time to show that Seth Rollins can go in the ring without needing the authority or shenanigans to improve upon it. Now, the end. If you haven't already known about it from either Twitter, Facebook, or any bit of social media, or even the thumbnail I'm using for this video, then you would know how it ended. So here's the setup. John Cena prepares to hit the AA on Seth Rollins. Ref eats the leg. Gets breezed by Seth Rollins' legs, and of course that pretty much means he's in a coma. Refs are fragile like that. And so, there's no ref. And the two of them are left alone in the ring. Then out comes Jon Stewart with a steel chair. Now, I kind of predicted that he would interfere in this match because him and Seth did work an angle a couple of months ago, a while back. So, got alive, and he was, and John was going like, should he go after Seth Rollins or go after John Cena? Well, the answer was John Cena. He may hate Seth, but Jon Stewart's from New York. Yeah. So, in a move that killed the hearts and souls of millions of children and Cena marks across the world, Johnny Beef Stew, I'm calling him that from now on. Johnny Beef Stew hands Rollins the chair, and Cena eats a pedigree. 1, 2, 3. Seth Rollins is not only still your world heavyweight champion, but is now the first man in history to hold the U.S. title and the World Heavyweight title. The hate is flowing. And I already know. I already looked at Twitter. I'm sorry, Mattis. I'm so sorry. Mattis Leonhardt from the Absolution Network, he is a big John Cena mark, but I'm sorry, but I love this ending. I know it was shenanigans. I know it was just Seth Rollins winning because of outside interference, but I can't hate on it. Jon Stewart broke the hearts of millions of children across the world. That pic of the child dressed head to toe in Cena apparel, crying on that guardrail. If I could take the hate coming from Twitter and social media and spread it on some English muffins, I'd eat that for breakfast. Delicious hatred. Next up, Divas match. A triple threat triple threat tag team elimination match between Team Bella, Team PCB or PCB, depending on what you want to say it, and Team Bad. For those of you who don't know, Team Bella comprises of the Bella Twins and Alicia Fox. Team PCB, Paige, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte. And Team Bad, Beautiful and Dangerous, being former NXT champion Sasha Banks, Naomi, and Tamina Snuka. This was an okay match. It's certainly not at the level of the matches that we've seen previously from the Divas on the main roster, especially when the Revolution started, and especially after last night. Look up Bayley versus Sasha Banks. Fucking magnificent match. But it was still a good match. It gets a good rating from me because Team Bella loses. Team PBC takes up the win, which I'm happy for, because as long as the Bellas aren't winning, I'm happy. Next up, Cesaro versus Kevin Owens. Grudge match. This was a great match. And I knew going in because Cesaro and Kevin Owens will pull off 5-star fucking matches and just say screw you to everyone, to people who don't think they should be pushed. Looking at you, Kevin Dunn, you piece of shit. This was an awesome match. I like Cesaro, but Kevin Owens really needed the win, and he won it with a pop-up powerbomb. And later on in the ring, he says, fuck you, Kevin Dunn, because really, fuck you, Kevin Dunn. If Vince doesn't see the worth in these two guys, then he really is more out of touch than I thought. So yeah, good match. And finally, the main event. The be-all and the end-all. Undertaker, Brock Lesnar. The rematch too big for WrestleMania. I'll tell you right now, this match is vastly superior than the one they had on at WrestleMania 30. For one thing, Undertaker's in prime condition for someone his age. Apparently, from what I've heard during the chat, that Undertaker's been back in the gym, working out more regularly, got his cardio up, and he has been doing a lot of DDP yoga, and that does wonders. Just ask Scott Hall and Jake the Snake Roberts. So this was a fantastic match. It was worth calling it a clash of legends because these two just went at each other. This was a war. This was the apocalypse. This was Armageddon, Ragnarok, the end of all things, the twilight of the gods. These two just went back and forth. And we saw some spots from The Undertaker, and he was taking some spots. It was just fantastic. A good spot that one of my friends in the chat turned into a gift. They were both laid out. Brock sits up first and starts laughing. Then Undertaker sits back up, looks at him, and laughs like this. Like really. You have to see it. Someone's going to make a gift of it or a meme of it, and you'll see it. It's just really, really hilarious and just fun to see them two just laughing like that. The end was kind of confusing. All kinds of dumb shit. But I'm not mad about it. Why? Okay, here's the thing. Okay. They're trading submissions back and forth. Brock with his Kimura, Undertaker with his Hell's Gate. Now, alright, now, Brock gets Taker in the Kimura lock. And he has it really locked in. And the ref, Charles Robinson, like, these are both of them laying down. Charles Robinson is right here on this side, and on the other, and he's not over here on the other side. That'll come into play. He counts, and Brock's shoulders are down. He counts 1. The bell rings, and everybody's like, "What? Who won?" And Heyman gets in the ring. He's like, "He tapped! He tapped! He tapped!" And they're like, "Did Brock Taker tap out?" And then Charles Robinson goes out and he's like, "No, I did not call for the bell. That was a 1 count. Who told you to ring that bell? Who told you to ring that bell?" Then the Undertaker just sneaks up behind Brock and just straight up punches him in the dick. I'm not kidding. Not a low blow. He straight punches him in the dick. And then locks in the Hell's Gate. And Brock, bloodied and broken, he's locked it in really, really tight. And with the last ounce of his strength, he flips Taker off. And then he passes out from the pain. And Undertaker wins. But then looking back at it, there's some controversy with this. Now remember, they're like this. Charles Robinson is right here. He's watching their shoulders. On the replay, on the other side of him, Taker taps out. You can clearly see his hand tapping repeatedly to show he is submitting. The timekeeper saw this and interpreted that meaning that the match was going to be called for a submission and that it was going to end. Charles Robinson did not see the Undertaker tapping out. So there was no way he could have known that the Undertaker was tapping because he was out of position. So the ref didn't call for the bell, but the timekeeper thought that Taker was tapping out and thus that Brock was winning. So that's my explanation of it. So Brock is pissed. Charles Robinson gets the fuck out of Dodge because he doesn't want Brock Lesnar anywhere near him. And he should be still running at this point. Heyman gets the bell and just starts going off on it. And then he says, no, the Undertaker tapped. He tapped. Thus, the winner of this match, the Beast, Brock Lesnar. And Brock and Heyman walk out triumphant, standing ovation. So, I would say this is bullshit, but given it's believable from a standpoint that the Undertaker felt. I believe that the Undertaker felt he couldn't win straight up, so he had to resort to the low blow. You've seen him use the low blow a few times in the past against Brock, so this was his only way. He had to get dirty and do whatever he could to beat this guy, to beat this monster of a man, and have a chance of defeating him. Now, this doesn't really hurt Brock nor Taker because Brock never tapped. He just passed out, which counts as a submission. But Brock and Heyman's standpoint is that he tapped out, that Taker tapped out. Thus, the match should have been ended right then and there. But yeah, like I said, the ending is kind of bullshit, but I'm not mad about it. If you can understand that. So yeah, that was SummerSlam. 4 hours. My thoughts? It was a pretty good show. They had its low moments with Rusev, Ziggler, as well as the Intercontinental title match. Some parts of it did drag on. 4 hours is good for WrestleMania, not for SummerSlam, so it's kind of dragged on. There were some great matches and great moments. Jon Stewart, I love you. Love you, Jon Stewart. Love you. And the main event kind of set up another match between the two of them because now they both have one win, so they need a rubber match. And hopefully the next one will be just as good, if not better, than this one. And hopefully it will be miles better than their last one at WrestleMania 30. So those are my thoughts. If you like what you see, link, comment, subscribe below. Got any questions, comments, or just want to talk about wrestling or preach the awesomeness that is Jon Stewart? Leave below, I'll get back to you. You want to support the channel? Hitting that like button helps, as does the advertisements around here. Click on it, and it only takes a second. That's all. Also, it's up there. You know what to do. So, until next time, this is ShintigerCurl, that dude in the straw hat, saying good night, and Johnny Beef Stew!